let's do Freddie quickly. The World Series MVP. Okay. Let's because
and yours too.
Yes. You know, like Mookie, his legacy, his likely Hall of Fame career path, someone who was still very much in his prime, who had a World Series and an MVP, and just, again, one of the great hitters of his generations. He didn't need to have one of the greatest World Series that we'd ever seen to, really make his mark as a player that will be remembered for a long time. But that he did. And that he did with an ankle that was barely functioning for the first couple of rounds. But boy, was it okay for these last few games. And yeah, this was a World Series performance that will go down in history as one that had a lot surrounding it, and on a team filled with so many famous players. Freddie is the one who ended. And it's funny because going into the season, I believe I picked Freddie Freeman to win MVP. Period. I thought that he would benefit from Ohtani in these ways and drive in just like an absurd amount of runs. And he ended up having a good season, but because of a lot of the stuff he was dealing with personally, of course, off the field, with his son being sick and some own injuries that he was dealing with, it wasn't his best. He was still great, right? But he wasn't necessarily, having the regular season that I'm sure he hoped to. But to have this narrative and to end up having one of the great World Series we've ever seen, which included, while he did not, homer in this final game, he did have one of the big swings still there at the end, or I guess in the middle there in the fifth. Was sensational. And Freddie Freeman is not someone that, the fact that he's even on the Dodgers at all is an amazing part of, his career story and how much we talked about him leaving Atlanta in the first place, and all that went into that. But Freddie, I think, really elevated, not that he needed to, but in terms of just an important player in our lifetime. I think that this World Series really did do that in a really significant way.
Shohei Ohtani deserves probably a bit more time. He did not have a great World Series.
2 for 19, really, I believe.
At all.
Yeah.
Now, he was playing some of that with a shoulder that is definitely hurt, and he said he's going to go get checked out. He said that on either the Fox or the MLB Network broadcast. They asked about it. He was like, yeah, I'm going to see a doctor. But to witness Shohei Ohtani lifting the World Series trophy is awesome. I talk about this all the time, dude. I want the best players, the ones that we'll talk about for a long time, to have the experience of lifting that trophy so that when we talk about them and their legacy, that it is a part of it, that they can be remembered as someone who did it, who experienced the highest joy that exists in the sport. And to know that no matter what happens the rest of his career, Ohtani did that. That the most spectacular baseballing thing we have ever seen was rewarded with the ultimate honor. And that is so freaking cool.
I'm excited to consume a lot more Ohtani content in the days to come, parade, all those things. And we'll talk about it more when we do the full Dodgers show on Monday. But this anecdote is just amazing. Did you see this about Friedman? What Friedman said? Okay, this is all-time stuff. This is from Bill Plunkett of the Orange County Register, who tweeted, Andrew Friedman said Shohei Ohtani told him during the celebration, quote, "Let's do this 9 more times." He continues, I think this is also from Friedman. He gets one in his first year, so he thinks this is easy. Tremendous, right? Again, dude didn't have a winning season, let alone a postseason appearance with the Angels. He goes to the Dodgers and wins it immediately. And yes, while he did not have, he had that one big hit in game 1, but obviously, likely in part due to that injury, didn't necessarily have that World Series that he wanted. But man, what more to look? I have so much more to look forward to with Ohtani pitching in the World Series at some point with the Dodgers, and just so much with him that I'm sure we'll get into on our next pod as well.
After so many tungsten Arm O'Doyle games, for Shohei Ohtani to be carried by his team to a World Series championship is nothing if not just.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, he turned out to be so much more important than we ever could have thought in terms of their regular season. They do not have the best record in baseball. If Shohei Ohtani does not have one of the great offensive seasons of all time. But that, he did do that. And they did have the best record in baseball, and they won the World Series, and he was happy.